All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is Katt is Right. Matthew McConaughey reveals the actual reason he got blacklisted. Oh, bro. Hollywood in general is weird, right? So I definitely expect for his reasons to be somewhat interesting, specifically if he's kind of conjuring up the image of Katt Williams.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be.
You know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job.
Blackmailed into losing your virginity a few years prior to that.
Not the ideal way to lose your virginity, but it's how I lost mine. It was very clear that, the way that it was happening to me.
Matthew McConaughey is quite the charmer, isn't he? Most of his fans would agree that he's not just a handsome face, but a talented actor too. You've probably seen him in a bunch of movies like Dazed and Confused, where he just oozes that laid-back vibe, or in serious roles in films like A Time to Kill and Amistad. He's got this knack for flipping between easygoing roles and intense performances, like in Mud and his Oscar-winning turn in Dallas Buyers Club. Beyond his acting, Matthew is also known for getting up on stage and giving some pretty stirring motivational speeches. He often talks about the importance of gratitude and focusing on the journey in life, rather than getting sidetracked by unfulfilling pursuits.
Demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently, and you're going to be unhappy much of your time.
Hey, listen, that's actually a solid line.
Give others and yourself more credit. It just happened. You witnessed it. You just did it. Believe it.
Right.
Give your obstacles credit.
But here's the kicker. His habit of speaking his mind might have put him on Hollywood's radar in a not-so-great way. Hollywood, as glamorous as it appears, isn't too keen on folks who rock the boat too much. They prefer celebrities to either join their ranks quietly or look the other way. Matthew isn't the type to just zip his lips, though. His speeches don't just motivate. They sometimes reveal the less savory sides of Hollywood, or what he calls the far left of the industry. It's almost like he's been targeted for not sticking to the script, metaphorically speaking. And he isn't the only one who's hinted at this sort of thing.
Listen, I can only tell you, just like in these YouTube streets, guys, my views have absolutely tanked, right? My videos being suggested to people have absolutely tanked when I kind of removed some of my filter.
Katt Williams, another big name, but from a different corner of the entertainment world, echoes similar sentiments. He's talked about the power brokers in Hollywood who decide who's in and who's out. According to him, if you don't play by their rules or if you step out of line, you could be scrubbed from the scene altogether.
You know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job.
Besides the drama with Hollywood, Matthew McConaughey has been through a lot of tough spots, from his early days right up to after he made it big. Matthew McConaughey was born in November 1969 in Texas. Even as a student, he was popular and even bagged an award titled Most Handsome Student. However, life at home wasn't exactly smooth for the young actor. He later revealed that he witnessed violent incidents as a child, but never really thought his parents were abusive, even though he acknowledged that others would probably perceive their actions as such. He said, "I was scared at the moment, but even then and immediately after that, I didn't ever question the love that mom and dad had, or the love that they gave us." Also, while opening up about his experiences in green lights, Matthew McConaughey has also been transparent about some of the most traumatic experiences he's lived through. He wrote that his first brush with sex wasn't pleasant and that he was essentially forced into it. He explained that he was 15 years old when it happened, and it was a case of blackmail. He wrote, "I was certain I was going to hell for the premarital sex. Today, I am merely certain that I hope that's not the case."
Or blackmailed into losing your virginity a few years prior to that.
Not the ideal way to lose your virginity, but it's how I lost mine.
I mean, generally, if you're being forced into something, there's nothing is ideal about being forced into something that you may not be aware of you're about to do, or you really have no interest in doing in the first place, potentially.
It was very clear that, the way that it was happening to me,
Male,
the way
female,
that I
doesn't
was
matter.
happening at that time was not the way I wanted it to be, nor thought it should be for anybody.
He also added that he faced A later as well when he was 18 years old and was attacked by an older man. Despite the difficult experiences that he's lived through, the actor doesn't think that he's ever felt like a victim. He added a positive note after the grim details and wrote, "I have a lot of proof that the world is conspiring to make me happy." Also, Matthew McConaughey might be a household name now, but his road to stardom was filled with plenty of obstacles. When he first dipped his toes into the entertainment industry, things weren't exactly smooth sailing. As he told Entertainment Weekly, he initially gave hand modeling a shot when he was still grappling with constant rejections during his film school days. A talent agent once complimented him on his good-looking hands and suggested he might have a future in it if he could just stop biting his nails and take better care of them. On top of that, McConaughey took a gig as a server at a place called Catfish Station to pad his wallet a bit. He described the bar as an all-black, sweaty spot that sold catfish, beer, and blues. And he definitely stood out as the only white guy there, adding another unique chapter to his early career adventures. But climbing the ladder of fame didn't just affect his career choices. It also rocked his personal life, particularly his relationship with his mom, Kay. According to People, once McConaughey hit the big time, he noticed a shift in his mom's behavior. She was more dazzled by the glitz of his fame than anything else. Their routine catch-up calls turned into something different, with McConaughey feeling like he was talking to a fan rather than his mom.
Guys, that's pretty sad. To be honest, I mean, if he's basically saying that his childhood was rough, he didn't really know if, I guess, how about this? If someone else saw his childhood, they may think that he did not grow up very well, right? And then just to know that as soon as you start getting some type of fame, you then most likely become the favorite kid of the bunch, and all of you were basically potentially mistreated as youth. Oh, that's rough, guys. That's rough. But it's your mother.
It reached a point where even private conversations would somehow find their way into the media. He shared personal stuff with her that he'd later hear echoed on the 6 o'clock news, which was pretty unsettling. "I was trying to find my own balance with fame and stuff, and I would share things with her. Some of those things I would share might show up in the 6 o'clock news 3 days later," McConaughey revealed.
So I would have conversations, and then all of a sudden, whoop, what we talked about shows up in the paper 3 days later. "What, Mom? That was between us. Oh, I didn't think, what's fine. No, Mom, don't share."
This breach of trust led to a long estrangement. Matthew didn't speak to his mom for 8 whole years. Eventually, they mended fences and started talking again, but it took a lot for McConaughey to get past the hurt and rebuild that trust. Also, Matthew McConaughey's life has been anything but dull, peppered with some pretty wild moments. Take, for example, the infamous incident from 1999, which he details in his memoir, Green Lights. Picture this. It's the middle of the night, and there's McConaughey in his own home, stark, just chilling and smoking a bowl while jamming to the hypnotic African beats of Henri Dikongue. Sounds like a pretty relaxed night, right?
I have no idea
not
who that
so
is,
much, because the Austin police weren't having any of it. They busted into his place, slapped on the handcuffs, and charged him with disturbing the peace, possession of marijuana, and resisting arrest. McConaughey's response? He defiantly refused to dress up, insisting he was just minding his own business in his home. He saw it as a way to stand his ground, showing he wasn't in the wrong. The whole ordeal ended with him paying a mere $50 fine, but the story blew up, sparking a local trend of bongo naked t-shirts all over Austin. But McConaughey's life took a serious turn in the early 2000s when he decided it was time for a break, what ended up being known as the McConaissance. Frustrated with being pigeonholed as the romantic comedy guy, he stepped away from the spotlight for a whopping 20 months. He said, "What happened was I was the rom-com guy. I was the shirtless guy on the beach. That was fine. Yes, I said it then, and I'll say it now. Those rom-coms I was in were paying for the house on the beach where I was shirtless. Guilty." He was tired of the same old roles and wanted to shake things up. At one point, he even turned down a whopping $14.5 million offer for another rom-com because he was so committed to reinventing his career. This wasn't just a timeout, it was a strategic move to reshape how Hollywood saw him. His time out of the limelight was all about transformation. He described it as becoming a new good idea in the minds of filmmakers, and boy, did it work.
All right, so he got tired of being typecasted.
When he returned, the doors to more varied and challenging roles swung open. McConaughey's bet on himself paid off, allowing him to tackle the more complex characters we now know him for. Also, Matthew McConaughey, despite being a gifted actor, hasn't always landed the roles he's pined for, and some of those could have seriously amped up his career. Take, for instance, the role of Jack in Titanic, which famously went to Leonardo DiCaprio.
What was your Titanic audition with Kate Winslet like? And do you think you could have done a better job than Leo?
You auditioned for Titanic?
Oh my God.
Oh, no, I never got the role. The audition went great. I actually did think I had it.
It's a bit of.
All right, so here's the thing. So I just recently actually saw the movie Titanic, the horror movie Titanic, for the first time. Absolutely appalled. Hated it. Right? That is a terrifying movie. Every single man in that movie died, basically. Every single one of them. What is that? What kind of movie is this? Right? But either way, it's on the movie channel if you guys want to actually see my reaction. At the end of it, I had a full-blown conversation with my wife where she tried to explain to me the kind of the softer side of why I should have liked the movie a lot more than I have. Right? All the men died. It's okay. It's sweet and endearing. No, it's not.
Of Hollywood trivia that not everyone knows, but Kate Winslet once revealed she actually auditioned with McConaughey for the film. She said, "I auditioned with Matthew, isn't that weird? Never said that in public before. I auditioned with Matthew, which was completely fantastic. It just wouldn't have been the whole Jack and Rose, Kate and Leo thing." Imagine how different that movie might have been with McConaughey steering the ship.
It would have been completely different.
You auditioned with Matthew McConaughey?
Never said that in public before.
Wow.
I did, yes, I did. I auditioned with Matthew, which was completely fantastic.
Then there was the time McConaughey had his sights set on playing the Hulk, a role he was pretty excited about. Unfortunately, despite his
Which version of the Hulk? Like the first one? Again, I'm just recently seeing these movies for the first time too.
enthusiasm, he was turned down
the second
flat when he
ones.
pitched himself for the part. The role eventually went to Edward Norton in the 2008 movie
Okay.
The Incredible Hulk, and later, Mark Ruffalo took over in subsequent Marvel films. McConaughey never did get to play a superhero in the Marvel universe, which remains a missed opportunity in his diverse career. Also, Matthew McConaughey is known for his dedication to his roles, and he really goes the extra mile to nail his characters. For the 2016 film Gold, he put on a whopping 45 pounds to authentically portray businessman Kenny Wells. Unfortunately, despite his hard work, the film didn't do well, and all that effort didn't pay off in terms of critical success or box office numbers. Losing the weight afterwards was no joke either. It took him a good while to shake off the extra pounds he gained for the role. In 2019,
And probably, the really good food. He got really used to eating that food. I know he did. Right? Like a lot of these actors, they get super comfortable during these roles. And then the hardest thing in the world for them is to actually lose that weight again. Because, bro, they got comfortable.
he mentioned to the Associated Press that he was still working on getting back to his usual shape. "It's been a while. I needed to get in shape. I wanted to. I was 220 lbs in Gold, of which I still have a couple of things back here on my back. Moreover, for Gold, he even went as far as shaving his head. But alas, the harsh reviews rolled in and no awards buzz followed. Contrast that with his role in the 2013 film Dallas Buyers Club, where he famously dropped about 50 pounds and delivered a performance that won him an Oscar. Now, even with that Oscar to his name and several standout performances in films like Interstellar, White Boy Rick, Serenity, and The Gentleman, box office success has often eluded him. He's candidly expressed in his memoir Green Lights that despite his critical acclaim, he's had relatively few hits when it comes to raking in the dollars at the box office. In 2017, The Guardian even commented on a low period in his career, suggesting maybe it was time for McConaughey to take another break, a second McConaissance, to revitalize his career trajectory.
Yeah, I think they should, stop saying this man's name if you can't pronounce it correctly, because that sounds crazy.
Tough. He's definitely hit a few rough patches. Take 2016, for instance, which was a particularly brutal year for him. His movie Free State of Jones bombed hard, failing to earn back even half of its production budget.
Wow.
And then there was The Sea of Trees, which was met with boos from the audience at Cannes. Definitely not the reaction any actor hopes for.
No.
Clearly, Matthew McConaughey has had to navigate some pretty stormy waters in the industry, but he's not alone in this. Many actors find themselves at the mercy of Hollywood's heavy hitters, battling through ups and downs, trying to find their footing in an industry that can be as ruthless as it is rewarding. Let's take a look at some other famous cases of blacklisting in Tinseltown.
Guys, to be honest, it doesn't sound like he's been blacklisted at all, so far at least. It just sounds like he's taken a couple of bad gigs, or times have changed. A lot of artists in general, I'm gonna count him as an artist, right? A lot of artists in general have had a hard time within these last, decade and a half, like trying to captivate this younger generation. And the younger generation just doesn't seem to be captivated at all by like anything that we once loved, us millennials, guys, right? at all. I mean, that's kind of the issue that I'm seeing, at least. I don't really see him being blacklisted, but I see the overall market changing.
First up, we've got Tippi Hedren. You might know her from Alfred Hitchcock's classics like The Birds and Marnie. But behind the scenes, things were pretty rough for her. She's spoken out about how Hitchcock SA'd her during filming. When she turned him down, he basically made her life a living hell. He ordered the rest of the cast not to talk to her and even set up his dressing room next to hers with a sneaky adjoining door on Marnie.
He told me he'd ruin my career. I said, do what you have to do. I don't care. I'm out.
And it's not just about SA. Hedren also said Hitchcock blocked Universal, the studio she was under contract with, from submitting her performance in Marnie for an Oscar, and he prevented her from working for 2 whole years. Studios were the power, Hedren said in 2012. And I was at the end of that, and there was absolutely nothing I could do legally whatsoever. There were no laws about this kind of a situation. If this had happened today, I would be a very rich woman. Then there's Brendan Fraser, who was a big deal in the late 90s and early 2000s, especially thanks to his role in the Mummy franchise. But his career hit a major speed bump, and he says the former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, Philip Burke, is partly to blame. Fraser claims he was SA'd by Burke at the Beverly Hills Hotel in 2003. After that, he noticed he was getting fewer invites to the Golden Globes, which the HFPA runs, and fewer opportunities in Hollywood. The phone does stop ringing in your career, and you start asking yourself why. There are many reasons, but was this one of them?
Is that why he disappeared?
I think it was, he said.
In the confession, he named Hollywood Foreign Press Association's president Philip Burke to be the assaulter. The actor claims Burke reached out to his behind, grabbed his cheek, and touched him between his legs.
Also, there's Rose McGowan. The actress is one of several women who accused Harvey Weinstein of sabotaging their careers after becoming victims to his SA and harassment. In McGowan's case, she claims that she was R-worded by the movie producer round about the time of the release of Scream, and after settling out of court, he allegedly tried to tank her movies. They threatened me with being blacklisted. I was blacklisted after I was R-worded because I got R-worded because I said something, but only like internally, you know, she said in an interview published by The Observer.
It is. This is an international history. Every single place he ever stayed, there were people there set up to help him. This is how it went. This is what it was.
Ashley Judd and Mira Sorvino also had their careers stalled by Weinstein after rebuffing his SEX advances, and Peter Jackson admits to being a part of it. The director says that he was told by Miramax to not hire the actresses for Lord of the Rings. I recall Miramax telling us they were a nightmare to work with, and we should avoid them at all costs, Jackson said. At the time, we had no reason to question what these guys were telling us. But in hindsight, I realized that this was very likely the Miramax smear campaign in full swing. I now suspect we were fed false information about both of these talented women.
Yeah, most likely.
Next up is Randy Quaid. You probably know him from flicks like Independence Day and National Lampoon's Vacation series. But
yeah, I know him. Yeah, from right here. I know him. This is the only thing I know him from. But all right,
things took a sour turn for him while shooting Lone Star Love back in 2007. According to reports, Quaid got into it with a crew member, but it was his wife, Evi, who really stirred up trouble. She sent some nasty emails to the producers, shared a naked photo of herself holding a gun with the cast and crew, and even broke the rules by filming rehearsals. As a result, Quaid got hit with a lifetime ban from the Theatrical Union Equity, got canned from the movie, and had to cough up a hefty $81,000 fine. But it gets even weirder. Quaid claims he's being targeted by a group called the Celebrity Star Whackers, who allegedly want him dead. According to him, they've already whacked Heath Ledger, David Carradine, and Chris Penn. It's like something out of a movie, but unfortunately, it's all too real for Quaid. Then there's Corey Feldman. Back in the 80s, he was a big deal thanks to his roles in The Goonies and Lost Boys. But his career took a nosedive, partly because he says he was blacklisted for speaking out about the Hollywood he claims he was a victim of.
What?
Feldman's been trying to get his documentary made on the subject, but he's had trouble getting financial backing because of who might be implicated.
Right.
It's
like who would back that video?
Been a tough road for him, especially
like specifically if they may be just like, you know, slightly involved, right?
With his history of drug A stemming from the trauma of his A. But things might be changing with the hashtag.
Guys, trust me, guys, I am not changing these words. I have no idea what they're even saying.
Me Too movement gaining momentum, Feldman's accusations are finally being taken seriously. These days, he's focusing more on advocacy work, especially around Child A in the entertainment industry. Then for Monique, she has been on this crusade, calling out Lee Daniels and OPR Winfrey for what she sees as them messing with her career. It's been brewing for years, but recently she dropped some serious tea on Club Shay Shay. OPR allegedly snatched up roles that were meant for her. Like, remember The Butler? Yeah, it was supposed to be hers, or so she says. Lee Daniels apparently offered it to her, but when OPR expressed interest, well, you can guess who ended up with the part. And it doesn't stop there. Lee Daniels had this biopic in the works about...
Oprah is a bigger name than Monique. Right? I mean, if you have the ability to choose between Oprah or Monique, you're going to be like, I'm going to put Oprah in my movie. Why? Because she's going to promote it, like, for free.
Richard Pryor. And guess who he wanted to play the grandmother? Monique. But lo and behold, OPR swoops in and claims the role for herself.
The movie The Butler, that movie was offered to me. Lee Daniels came out and said, I did offer Monique the Butler. But as he said to me, he said, Mo, at the time I didn't have no power and I didn't have no money. So when Oprah said she wanted it.
Let's rewind a bit to the Monique and OPR showdown. This drama started way back in 2009.
What is up with this crazy mispronunciation, bro?
When Monique starred in Precious, a movie produced by OPR and Tyler Perry and directed by Lee Daniels. The real beef kicked off when OPR and Tyler decided Monique should hit the press circuit for the film without any paycheck. Monique wasn't having it and straight up said, nah, not in my contract. According to Monique, she only got a measly $50K for the whole movie, which was barely enough. Now they wanted her to jet around the world promoting the film for free, not on Monique's watch. But OPR and Tyler didn't take her refusal well at all. Instead, they started trashing her reputation in the industry, spinning a narrative about her being difficult to work with.
Plausible. I mean, that seems to be the excuse that a lot of directors and producers generally end up giving, specifically if an actor or actress doesn't kind of toe the line, right? So, like, if it was an action, like, Monique is not, she's famous. I'm not disrespecting her, right? But she's not that famous, okay? And so that being said, they're kind of giving you a gimme, right? They're saying, listen, I'm gonna put you in this part here, but all I'm gonna ask you to do is promote your part, bro, please, right? That'll help to your fan base.
Monique spilled the tea, saying Tyler Perry told her, you may want to consider promoting this film because if you get nominated for an Oscar, your next film is $3 to $5 million. And if you win it, your next film is $6 to $8 million. Monique was like, hold up, I'm a black woman. Where are they paying those salaries, brother? She straight up told Tyler, I can't work for free. I've done what I was supposed to do. I can't go overseas and do this for free. Their back and forth continued, with Tyler saying he doesn't believe in giving money away for free, and Monique firing back, I don't believe in working for free, so we on the same page?
He goes on about his spill, you know. I said, well, listen, you can write me the check for me to go overseas. I don't care where the money comes from, but I'm not going to do it for free.
She also claimed Tyler...
I mean, yeah, also at the same time, yeah, who really wants to work for free? $50K for that movie is not enough money. I was sitting here thinking about it, like hearing her speak on it, hearing the passion in her voice. Okay, yeah, maybe you're right. $50K is not enough for that movie. That movie was gigantic.
Perry allegedly went the extra mile to mess with her acting gigs. According to Monique, it all went down after she turned down a request to fly to France for the Cannes Film Festival, tied to promoting the movie Precious. The movie studio initially asked her to jet off to France, but Monique, with her busy schedule as a talk show host, comedian, and family woman, respectfully declined. They tried to sweeten the deal by offering to upgrade her hotel room, but she and her husband stuck to their guns, saying, nah, we're going to spend this time with our family. When the third call came and they asked, what's it going to take to get Monique to France? Her husband straight up asked, is there a number associated with it? That's when they dropped the bomb that they would never pay for anyone to do promotions for a movie. Monique revealed she was paid a mere $50,000 for Precious, and it wasn't about the money. She signed up to do it with her friend. The interviewer dug in, suggesting she needed the money to feed her family and pay bills, and Monique responded, I think that's what America says. We all say, I can't do it for free. She explained that when the movie studio refused to pay for her Cannes appearance, they didn't make a fuss. But then the reports started flying, painting Monique as demanding and difficult, The whole thing boiled down to a simple request that they understood couldn't be met. But suddenly, Monique found herself labeled, and that's where the drama kicked in.
Understood, because what people didn't know was I was paid $50,000 to do the movie Precious. And it really wasn't about the money, and I'm not complaining because I signed up to do it with my friends. We
I mean, if you're not complaining, then you wouldn't bring up the fact that you were paid $50,000 to do a movie.
Can't set a precedent and pay you to do this. We didn't have an issue with them.
Okay.
But that's when the reports came that now Monique is being demanding and she's being difficult.
So it's clear that blackballing is a real issue in Hollywood. Now, we want to hear from you. Which other actor do you think has been blacklisted? Drop.
Guys, so about Monique, the Monique situation at least, right? I remember the movie Precious, right? I remember all the things that happened after it. And then the overall rumors were the reason why she cannot be casted again, right? The reason why we didn't see her again in anything is because she played the part so well, you know, and anytime someone sees her, they think of that character, that terrible character, right? I think that was the running excuse at the time, the reason why we didn't see Monique in anything any longer. But yeah, guys, Hollywood is known for this. They will blacklist you. Like specifically if you don't toe the line, if you start speaking about things that you shouldn't, obviously, there is someone that you're going to offend, and that person may be a higher up, and they're going to be like, why would I want you working for me when there's even a possible capability that you're going to do the same thing to me that you're doing to them eventually, right? So like, even if what you're saying is true and that person did this craziness to you, right? What if what you're saying is not true and you're just making this up? And so that's kind of the dilemma, guys, right? That's why, like, you see a lot of there are a lot of issues right now currently with companies slowing down hiring of women at a certain level, right? That's equally as crazy as this, right? Like, you have to treat everyone for the most part like they are unique until they come up with something that basically makes your skin crawl, bro. A reality, right? Maybe too much reality. But either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.